start. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Last time I told you that I will be telling you about the Atmanepad Parasmepad information. So let me open my Samsadhani. Just give me 1 minute to share my screen. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here you see that we have tools and then dictionaries. Under dictionaries, when you go, there is a Dhatu Patha, concordance of Paninian Dhatu Vrittis. So Dhatu Patha, there is no one version of Dhatu Patha. There are actually several Dhatu Pathas, and Dhatu Vrittis are the commentaries on these Dhatu Pathas. So the list of these 2000, approximately 2000 dhatus is not unique. There are some variations. So here you will see the concordance. We have chosen 3 commentaries. If I go to concordance with set Padi info, the second one, then what I get is the Gana, then there is a Dhatu and its meaning, whether it is set, etc. Let us not go in those technical details. Then you have the Padi information. Pa is Parasme Pada, Apa is Atmane Pada. So here you will also see 3 more columns, Madhavya Dhatu Vrittik, Kshira Tarangini and Dhatu Pradeepa. So when you click on them, you will get the actual commentaries in Sanskrit related to each of these dhatus, etc. So you will see here now, Gadra, there are 3 entries. Actually, in the Dhatu Patha, there is only one entry which says Gadru Granthe Pratisthayam Lipsayam, but we have split them in 3 because the different commentators do not agree on which meaning is there with associated with which dhatu and so on. For example, here you see Badru, Lodane and Rotane. So 2 dhatu vrittikaras, 2 commentators say the meaning is Lodane. One commentator says, no, it is not Lodane, it is Rotane. Now you may have all questions such as what is Lodane, what is Rotane, and so on. Let us not go in those details at this point in time. This is something for the scholars who are scholars in Sanskrit. Let us not go in these details. But you have the information of Padi here, Parasme Pad, Atmane Pad. Now you can see these sorted according to dhatus. So suppose a specific dhatu you want to know whether it is Parasme Pada or Atmane Pada, you sort this according to the dhatus. So dhatus are now in alphabetic order, and here suppose now you want to know a specific dhatu like Anka, whether it is Parasme Pada or Atmane Pada, it says this is in Parasme Pada. Okay. There will be some dhatus according to some commentators, they are Parasme Pada, according to some they are Atmane Pada, and so on. Similarly, meaning wise there will be differences. All this you will see here. So this is something which actually opens up Pandora's box. So I didn't want to go in these details, but of course those dhatus which are more frequent, for them there are no much differences of opinion. If you have some meaning in your mind and you want to know which are the dhatus for that corresponding to that meaning, say for example there is Adane and you have Gala, Grasu, Ghasu, Chamu, Chava, Chamu, Jamu, Jamu, Trunu, Bhaksha, Bhraksha, shnasu, and hu. These are various words used for adana, that means to eat. And some of you, those who are Indians, might be knowing jamu is used in Gujarati for eating. Charva or chama is used for eating. Ghaslu, ghas in Marathi we use as one bite of food kind of thing. Then grasu, gala, these are there. So different languages, different Indian languages have taken up different Sanskrit words, and then you have those prakrutized words that you will see in Indian languages. Okay, so I don't want to go much in these details, but I want to tell you some unique feature that is available here. I will sort these according to the dhatus, and I will select, I will search for gum. Yes. So here is the gum dhatu. And if there is gumrlu and gum, if I bring my cursor on gum, or if I click and open this picture, I can open in new window. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So what you see here is all the entries that are derived from gam dhatu, which are there in Apte's dictionary. So here is the gam dhatu. To this, when we add lut suffix, that is the krut suffix lut, we get gamana. And you will see in that black box meaning in Hindi also, jana, gati, chala, etc. When aniyar is added, you get gamaniya. Then when you add which, you get gambharika, then yat, gamya, and so on. So you see here the various words, gamaka, gama, gamana, gamaniya, gambharika, gamina, etc. Jagat, jagati, jagmi. When some other suffix is added to gam, you get jangama, jangula, etc. Turanga, nigama, nigamana, nirga, nirgamana, nirgama. All these are derived by adding either some suffixes or prefixes, krut suffixes or upasargas. Then you have paraga, parigata, pragata, pragamana, and so on. Sangama, sangata, sangati, and so on. And here you have gantri, gantru, gatvara, gati, gata, gacha, and so on. When to when upasarga is added, upagama, upagata, upagati, upagama, etc. Samupagama, samudgama, samudgama, pratyudmama, and so on. Swagata is su plus a plus gam plus ta, which we use several times, swagata. This is derived like this. Then you have samagama, samagati, and so on. Agama, agamana, with a as the upasarga. Then abhi as upasarga, anu as upasarga, and so on. So you see how this factory is there, where you just add upasargas and krut pratyayas and you get so many words. So for different verbs, we have provided these entries. You can see directly. Of course, this is not again a complete information. Wherever in Apte's dictionary information was available, we have made it available through these verbs. There might be some mistakes because there are verbs with more than one meanings, and we tried our best to link them to the correct meanings, but there might be some mistakes as well. So you can explore this, you can use this information to know whether the words are related or not, which words can be generated and so on. And for Parasmepad Atmanepad information, you can use this interface. So I'm not going in other details because those are more technical and meant for the Sanskrit scholars and not for people like us. So I stop sharing this, and one more thing I would like to mention. So let me share another screen. So this is again a factory which produces several words. In this diagram, you will see two rectangles, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. The left hand side says dhatu plus ting is tiganta. The right hand side says pratipadikam subanta. So these are the basic word formation techniques in Sanskrit. Dhatus come from the dhatu patha, to which we add ting pratyayas and we get tigantas. And the pratipadikas come from the Shabda Kosha, the dictionaries. We add supratyayas and we get subantas. But this is not all. We have seen that by adding krut pratyaya to dhatu, we get a new pratipadikam. And to this pratipadikam, we add sup, we get subanta. So there is this process, derivational process, which helps us in getting new pratipadikas from dhatus. And how many krut pratyayas are there? There are hundreds of them. So you get several pratipadikas from dhatus. Then to these dhatus, we can add one or more upasargas, and we get new dhatus. To these dhatus, we can add some other pratyayas. They are called sanadi pratyayas. One such pratyay is the causative suffix, which makes a verb causative. In English, we use typically make or get to make something causative. But in Sanskrit, there is a causative suffix which is called nich. And when we add this nich, we get a causative verb. And then again to that causative verb, we can add krut suffix, we get new pratipadikas, etc. There are other pratyayas which are called tadhita pratyayas, which produce new pratipadikas from pratipadikas, or they produce new dhatus, or there are sanadi pratyayas which produce dhatus from nouns and so on. There is one chvi pratyaya which produces a dhatu and so on. So this is, and you see there is a lot of recursion also. So you can keep on adding these suffixes and make words longer and longer words. So here are some examples of pathayita, pi pathayishati, vyavahari, samabhi vyahara, susammodayantika, and so on. And how these words are formed, that is also given here just as an example. So what I wanted to say here is this word formation is in Sanskrit is very productive. You can go on adding different suffixes in different meanings to get newer pratipadikas or new dhatus, and then we add again sup and ting to make them words. So among these, we have just seen the two rectangle parts and the krut part and upasargas. We have not yet seen sanadi, we have, and of course prayogas we have not yet seen, and there are several other pratyayas which we have not seen. I don't think we will have time to see all these in detail, but whatever we have seen so far will constitute 90 to 95% of Sanskrit language. Say, for example, if you want to read Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata or Ramayana or any of Kalidasa's work, then except of course the Tadditas, Kalidas, in Kalidasa's literature you will have examples of Tadditas, etc. And at that point in time, we will introduce, when we look at those texts and when we come across such words, we will introduce you to various other aspects. So at this point in time, we would like to stop here with the word generator and analyzer. And we would like to go to the next important concept, Sandhi in Sanskrit. So I stop here and I would request Pawan to take over.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. Just a moment. I'll share my screen. Is this visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, good evening all. Now, so far as discussed by Professor Amma, that we have discussed the concepts called word generator, and we have seen the concepts called Krit. What are the most frequent pretyas used in literature, and we have discussed those things in detail. And today we are going to discuss the concept called Sandhi. Sandhi means synthesis. So before going to the Sandhi concept, we have to understand the concept called Maheshwara Sutras or Shiva Sutras, and the other one is Pratyahara. So Maheshwara Sutras are there. 14 Maheshwara Sutras are there. So these are the prerequisite to form Sandhi, and based on these Maheshwara Sutras, we can form Pratyaharas. So today we are going to discuss this Maheshwara Sutras and the concept of Pratyahara. So there are 14 Maheshwara Sutras. Aivun, Riluk, Evong, Ayauch, Hayavarat, Lan, Yamagananam, Jabhang, Gadadash, Jabagadadash, Kapha Chatata, Chatatau, Kapai, Shashasar, Hal. Again, A, I, U, N. Aivun, Riluk, Evong, Ayauch, Hayavarat, Lan, Yamagananam, Jabhang, Gadadash, Jabagadadash, Kapha Chatata, Chatatau, Kapai, Shasar, Hal. So these are the 14 Maheshwara Sutras. The origin of these Maheshwara Sutras is Shiva. So that's why we are calling them as Maheshwara Sutras. So based on these 14 sutras, Panini used these 14 sutras, and with the help of these 14 sutras, he wrote the famous treatise called Ashtadhyayi. So these Maheshwara Sutras are used to define new names called An, Ach, Ik through the concept called Pratyaharas. What is this An, Ak, and what is the Pratyahara? We will see. So Pratyahara is introduced by Panini, which is a coding technique. The purpose of this technique is to make the sutras concise. So with the help of this Pratyahara, he defined shorter names called sanyas. The purpose of defining those sanyas is to make the sutras concise and we can easily memorize those sutras. I will show you one example. So this is the example for Pratyahara, ach. What is ach? Ach defines vowels. So I have taken first 4 sutras. If you see, a, e, un, ril, a, om, I, ouch. So here, the first character, akara, a, is joined with the last character of the 4th sutra, which is I, ouch, cha. So, ach means a, e, bu, ril, a, o, I, o. All the vowels fall under this sanya, that is called ach, which consists of these vowels. We have to exclude these last varnas. We will see. So this is a short form of all the vowels. See, whenever Panini needs to use the vowels, instead of mentioning all the vowels like a, e, u, r, lu, e, o, I, o in a sutra, he refers ach, which consists of all the vowels. This is a short name. So what is the purpose of defining such names? So that the length of the sutra will become very less. Instead of saying I, bu, rulu, evo, I, au, if I say ach, which consists of all the vowels, then the length of the sutra will become very less. So that he achieves the brevity. He achieved the brevity. Laghava. So now what are the rules to form a pratyahara? That question may rise. We said that ach defines vowels. Okay. What restrictions are there? See, these are the rules to form a pratyahara. So 4 rules are there. The first one is any character in the sutras, here the sutras refers to Maheshwara Sutras, joined with one of the ending character will become a pratyahara. So here if you see, I have taken 4 sutras. Ach, right? So Aivun, Rilik, Evom, Ayoj. So I want to form a pratyahara called ach. So first, I will see the starting letter A of a sutra, that is Ayun, where I can find the A in that sutra, and I want to form the pratyahara ach. So the ending letter cha is also required. Where can I find that cha? In the sutra Ayoj. So any character in the sutras joined with one of the ending character will become a pratyahara. So A is there, which is the beginning character, and I want to form a pratyahara called ach, where the ending letter cha is needed. So if I join these 2 things, ach, which will become a pratyahara. This pratyahara will become a new name which represents all the characters which fall between the beginning and the ending character of the pratyahara, including the beginning one. See, ach means Aivun, Rilik, Evom, Ayoj. So the varnas, the letters, in the case of ach, you have to include Evun, Rilik, Evom, Ayoj. And you have to include the beginning letter. So ach means Aivun, Rilik, Evom, Ayoj. Now here you can see the third one, which is the important one. The ending character is only a delimiter and should not be included while expanding pratyahara. See, just now I said, according to the second rule, ach means Ayivun, Rilik, Evom, Ayoj. 4, 3, 7, 3, 10, 13. 13 letters are there. When I say ach means 13. But the third rule says that the ending character in each sutra is a delimiter. It's a anubandha. It's a itvarna. It will be elided. So while expanding a pratyahara, you should not include the ending letter of each sutra. So now ach means a, e, vu. We have to exclude this na, and r, l. Again, we have to exclude this k, a, wo, n. No, we should not include this thing. I, au. So ach means a, e, vu, re, l, a, o, I, au. So 9 letters are there in ach pratyahara. And the fourth important rule is a pratyahara should not begin with a delimiting character. You cannot form a pratyahara with the ending letter in each sutra. See, just now we have seen the pratyahara called ach. Now I would like to form a pratyahara called nach. No, it's not possible. You should not form a pratyahara with the ending character of a sutra.
Yes.
Yes,
So Pavan, now suppose I want
Yes.
to make, suppose I make a new pratyahara, ik. It will contain e, vu, ru, lu. Okay.
Yes, so it means a. So according to the first rule, any character in the sutras.
Yes.
So e, which belongs to ayuvan. So I can form a pratyahara with the varna e. And what is my intention? I want to form a pratyahara called ik. So I have to see the ending letter k in the sutra.
Okay.
So ayuvan, after that riluk. So here you can see the k at the ending of the second sutra, right? So I can form a pratyahara called ik, which consists of e, u. According to the third rule, we have to exclude this n, then e, v, ri, l. So these are the varnas fall under the pratyahara called ik.
Okay. Okay. So this is essentially a naming scheme, something like
Yes.
we have the abbreviations. So this is a kind of having abbreviations, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the main purpose of this abbreviation is to make the sutras concise.
Okay. Okay. So one more pratyahara, H. H will have A,
Yes.
O, I, O.
Yes.
Okay. And
A, O, I, O.
okay.
Yes.
And Eng will have only A and O.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
A, O. Yeah. So you can form pratyahara like ach, ich, uch, rich, lich, like that you can form. You know? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. But so
Someone has raised it there.
so what we need to remember is the sequence. Once we know the sequence, we can
Yes.
go on forming such. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So in order to form a pratyahara, or in order to understand the concept called pratyahara, one should remember the Maheshwara Sutras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Premalata has raised a hand. Would you like to take a question? Her question?
Yeah, quick question. Yeah.
Yeah. If it is quick question, maybe Premalata.
Yeah, two quick questions. One is, can I use a reverse? Like you said, ach, a to cha. Can I do au to un? Aun.
No. That sequence is required, madam. You should not
Okay.
come from that
Okay.
right to
Okay.
left. Okay.
Okay. And then the second question, quick question is there any limit on the number of letters that I can use there? For example, can I just make un as a pratyahara? Just take u anna.
Yeah, you can form. See, the thing is,
Hello. Pavan, your voice.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can form into those details. If you are interested, you people are interested, you can work on those how one can form those possible pratyaharas, the number, etc. But among those, Panini has used a few. Okay.
No, my question is
You
there
can-
any limit on the number of letters that I can use in a pratyahara? For example, can I just use u, na, and then make one pratyahara?
You can, madam. You can make a
No. Just a minute. This un will not be a pratyahara because instead of u, why should Panini use un?
Okay.
Okay.
That is why that was my
Yeah,
question. Okay.
because Panini aims at Laghava, he will not use un. But there is interesting thing. There is another na in the Maheshwar Sutras, and un also makes sense there. So we will not go again in
Yeah.
those details. There is one question regarding this again, related to this. Anne Mary is asking, long a, dirgha a is it included in the first sutra?
No.
What
No.
about a?
Yes. So for that, you have to rely on some other sutra. Once I teach the Sandhi concept, then with example, I will explain.
Okay. Okay, so please wait, Anne Mary. He will be explaining it at some other point in time, appropriate time.
Yeah.
Okay. So please go ahead, Pavan.
Yeah. So I hope you have understood this Pratyahara concept. Now, what is Sandhi? Sandhi means synthesis. So when two varnas or letters are pronounced in quick succession, then there will be some phonemic change. This change may happen in the first letter or sometimes in the second letter, or sometimes both the letters will be replaced by a new letter. So this type of phenomenon is called Sandhi. You are adding two sounds, and sometimes the previous letter will be replaced in the context of the later one. Sometimes the letter will be replaced by some other one in the context of previous one, or sometimes both the letters will be replaced. So we will see the examples. So here we are going to discuss the operations related to vowels in the context of a vowel. Another vowel is being replaced. So today we are going to
19 marriage
okay. So today we are going to discuss the rule Yan Sandhi. The sutra you can see is Iko Yanachi. The rule says that if a word ends with ik means a pratyahara. So sorry, here you can see ik. Ik means ivu rilu. Ik ivu rilu. Ach we have seen a ivu rilu evo ayo. And sorry, yan means yavarala. Yavarala yan. Ik means ivu rilu. Ach means a ivu rilu evo ayo. Do remember this thing? Yeah. So this rule says that if a word ends with ik, the letters belong to ik pratyahara, and if it is followed by a word commences with a letter belongs to ach pratyahara, then ik will be replaced by yan. So here if you see ik is being replaced by n in the context of ach. I will show the example so that the concept will be clear. So here if you see edi and api, two words are there, edi and api. The word edi ends with ikara, e, which belongs to ik pratyahara, which is being followed by a word starts with a. This a is a ach vowel. Then e will be replaced by a, edyapi. The final form will be edyapi. Just give me one moment. I will share the notepad. Is this visible?
No, it is not visible.
Madam?
No, it is not visible.
Oh, I have to share.
Yeah.
Okay, just give me. Now?
No, yes, it is visible now. Yes.
So, ik. Ik means okay. These sutras are required in order to understand the rule eco-energy. So, ik means e, o, r, ki. So, Iburulu, N, starting from Yakara till Nakara. So, Ya, Va, Ra, La. Ach. I, U. Oh. Okay. Actually, this is halanta. For the sake of pronunciation, we have Panini and Maheshwara Sutras. You can see that akara added to the consonants. Without akara, it's very difficult to pronounce the consonants. Like that you have to pronounce. But for the sake of better pronunciation, we have added. You can see that akara that was added by Maheshwara. Yeah. So ik, yen, ach. Now the rule eco-energy. It says that ik will be replaced by n in the context of ach. This is the meaning of the rule eco-energy. For example, yadi and api. So here, if you see the sequence of phonemes of the word yadi, u, a, d, e, and api. So here, the word yadi ends with e. This condition is satisfied, and which is being followed by a. That belongs to ach. So in this case, ik will be replaced by n. So ikara will be replaced by ya, then the form will be finally you will get the form as yadyapi. Okay, so
So why only
you have to,
why not va?
sorry,
Why not va?
yes, it's a good question. So you have to understand the place of articulation. What is the place of articulation of ikara and yakara? So the place of articulation for e and ya are same, u and va are same, r and ra are same, and lu and la are same. Hence e will be replaced by ya only. So one-to-one mapping is there. Okay.
Sir, just a quick question. Why is
Mhm.
ik just replaced only by yan, not anything? Like, why is that transformation happening? Ik.
Because of the sutra, madam. Because of the sutra eco energy, ik will be replaced by n
Okay,
only.
okay, fine. Thanks.
See, this is how the language behaves. Why language behaves like this is a different question. Okay.
Sorry, isn't it also a question of natural flow of pronunciation? When two phonemes come to meet each other, there is a natural way to make it pronounced in a flowing,
Yes.
natural way.
Yes.
Yes.
You are right.
Yes.
Because otherwise, it looks like very complicated mathematics where it's very difficult to make sense. But actually, it's a very natural process, and it happens in many other languages. But there are no rules. But in Sanskrit, there are very precise rules for that. So that's what makes it very special, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. And this is how precisely it works.
Yeah. So one doubt here that this explanation shows that dirgha a and dirgha e, dirgha u are also included in ach.
I am coming to that point only. I haven't completed it, so I'll come to that thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, in order to understand the dirgha and all other things, we have to understand the ik, which is the sthani. It will be replaced by yan. So here yan is the replacer or substituent, and ik is the replacee, and ach is the context. In which context you have to replace ik with yan. So in Sanskrit, we call the replacee as sthani, madam, correct me if I miss something. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
And so these are the things we have to understand. So replacee. So here it is the replacee, and the substituent is yan, which is called adesha, and the replacee is sthani, and nimitta, which is ach. In the context of ach, you are replacing ik with yan. So ik is the sthani, yan is the adesha, and ach is the nimitta. Okay. So try to remember these things. Why? In order to understand the dirgha things, we have to remember these terms. Now the question many people have asked that question, that why dirgha varnas are not included that ik in the ik pratyahara, whether we have to take the dirgha varnas or not. For that, there is a rule. I am not explaining that rule, but I would like to explain the meaning of that rule. I don't want to state that rule because it's a complicated thing. At this juncture, I don't want to explain that rule, mention that rule, but I would like to mention the meaning of that rule. So here, if you see, Nadi Atra. So here, the word Nadi ends with E and it is being followed by a vowel A. But here there is no dirgha, long vowel in the Maheshwar Sutras. Then the question may arise that can we apply Yanadesha? Can we apply the Iko Yanachi rule or not? If you see the final form, Nadyatra, which means you have applied the Yanadesha. But the question remains, same that, see, there is no dirgha varna in the dirgha letter, the long vowel in the Maheshwar Sutras. Then how one can apply the Iko Yanachi? There is a rule which says that if the letters belong to the pratyahara,
Pavan, this is not visible. You just put some blank lines so that it goes up. Your last line is not visible. After that, you put some blank lines.
okay, this is okay.
No, you need not have. Just put blank lines. Enter. You
Just
put
scroll up.
gone and
Yeah.
hit,
Okay.
Okay. Now take your
Okay, okay.
cursor up. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a pratyahara called an, which consists of letters like a, I, U. I am excluding the last letters. Okay, so an, okay, so that you can understand. Okay. So here you can see two nakaras are there, right? Aivun, that na is there, and lan, another na is there. So I write here unto, which means that I formed this pratyahara with the later another nakara, the second na, which consists of these letters aivu, rulu, evo, ayo, hayavarala. When you find these varnas, any of these varnas in sthani or in nimitta, they will take their homogeneous forms. So I will explain in detail. Ik consists of E, U, R, L. Yes. Okay. So Ik is a sthani, replacee, and Ach is a replacer, substituent, right? So Ik, which is a subset of An. See here from E, Vu, Ru, Lu, you can form a pratyahara called Ik, which is a subset of this An too. Similarly, Ach, again, which is a subset of An. This rule says that if you find the letters belong to An pratyahara, the letter nakara, with the help of letter nakara, if you form a pratyahara called An, then whatever the varnas belong to An, in the sthani or in the nimitta, they will get the homogeneous forms. So Ik means, since Ik is a sthani, you have to take not only E, U, Ru, Lu, E, U, Ru. Since there is no form for Lukara, only E, U, U, R are possible. And you have to understand the role of the sthani, the replacee. Similarly, Ach means A, I, U, Ru, etc. will be possible. But the Adesha, even though Adesha belongs to the, which is a subset of An, it will not take its savarnas, which are the homogeneous forms. So this is the meaning of that rule. If you want the detailed explanation, better you can go through the Siddhanta Kaumudi or some other book, because it has some concepts. It requires some information about, some knowledge about that. To understand that sutra, you require some knowledge. Without that,
Oh, okay. So
you cannot get the meaning actually. So that is the
Pawan, essentially what you are saying is whatever is the replacee and whatever is the context, there we always consider not just the letters that are there, but their homogeneous letters also. So by it, we don't just take Ivurulu, but the homogeneous. So I, Uru, and even with nasalization or
yes.
with various other Pluta and various other things will come here.
Yes, but the main thing is, yeah, this should be a subset of the An pratyahara, the letter An pratyahara.
Fine.
The replacee and the context, nimitta, should be a subset of that Antu pratyahara. Then only you can get the homogeneous forms, otherwise you cannot. The Adesha will not get any homogeneous forms.
Okay.
So I hope this concept is clear. So
yeah,
if you
Sorry, it's not very clear. Could you give some examples? That would help, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, Nadi.
You can go to the your slides and show.
Yes.
There are several examples there.
Yes, but here I haven't added that Nadi Yatra. That's why
Okay.
I am. Yeah. Is this visible now? No.
No, you have to share that.
Okay. Just give me 1 moment. So here, if you see, is this visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So here, Edi Api, just now we have seen the example. If you observe it carefully, all the words, those are in the first position, ends with short vowels, e, u, ri, li. But whenever you want to apply the rule Yanadesha for the Dirgha forms, how one can include, how one can apply, because in the Pratyahara there is no long vowel, right? So that's why if you see here, Nadi Atra, the word Nadi ends with E-kara, long vowel. So this E is a sthani, which is a replacee. That belongs to the Pratyahara called An. An means starting from A to ending Na, right? And the role of E is sthani. So if the sthani, the replacee belongs to ik, which is a subset of this set called An, then it will take its homogeneous forms, which means ik means not only e, v, you have to take the homogeneous forms, like the homogeneous form for ikara is e, which is a long vowel, and e, the elongated one. So you can take those forms and you can apply the rule Ikoyanachi. If you apply that thing, then E will be replaced by U, then the final form will be Nadyatra. Is this clear?
Sir, in this case, it is the ik and yan are part of the pratyahara an. But how will you decide that
Yes.
an pratyahara, that of which pratyahara they should be part of? How will you decide that?
See, that's what I said, madam. Whatever you take, the sthani and adesha and nimitta, sthani, the replacee, and the
Context.
replacer, context, in the context of, you are performing some operation, right? The context and the replacee will get their homogeneous forms except the substituent.
Yes.
If the sthani, the replacee or the context belongs to the set, universal set, whatever you can say, set, universal set called An, then you can have the homogeneous forms of
No.
the.
Yeah. No, that I understood.
No,
that
just
they can take
1
both.
minute. No, let me just make it a little simple. Let us not go in the terminology of Panini and other things. The way Panini explained, let me make it little simpler. So Ikoyanachi is, it says that ik changes to yan when ik is followed by ach. Now by ik, whether you meant only iururlu or even the long vowels etc. are included. So the general rule is when you have vowels or the semi-vowels, that is ha, ya, va, ra and la, in such cases, ya, va, ra, la and also ha is not a semi-vowel, sorry. So if you have vowels and ya, va, ra, la and ha, then you can take the homogeneous savarnas of these homogeneous varnas corresponding to this. So what is homogeneous? For E, dirgha E. For U, dirgha U is savarna. For Ri, dirgha Ri is the savarna, the long ru. Similarly for Yava, La, Ya with nasal, Ya or Va, Ra. Similarly for E with nasal. These are the savarnas. So when Panini gives a rule for, Panini uses ik. By ik we mean any savarna, not only just ivurulu, but any savarna of ivurulu. Similarly in ach, any savarna will be there. Now these savarnas we take only if they are either in sthani or nimitta position. for yan, yavarala, we don't take the savarnas. This is what he wanted to point out.
No, that is clear that we can take the savarna in the case of but another thing that he said is that they should be part of
Yes,
an.
that's what I'm
That is
saying.
another
See,
condition.
that part I simplified. The part of an.
Hmm.
See, simplifying as any vowel or yavara or her. If ik
Okay.
or whatever pratyahara is there, like ik, if it contains only part of these, so all or part of these, then only we take the savarna. Otherwise, we don't. So if you have
Okay.
something like al or at and so on, not at, ak, and la, let us take, which contains all varnas, there we cannot take the savarnas. This.
Mhm. Okay.
It should be subset of this. This is what is being said.
Can you give an example where we should not take this?
We will come across such things.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. When we see more sutras, we will come across such things.
Okay. So we will see the other examples and we will in the end sandhi. Yeah. So is this visible now?
Yes.
So we have seen the example Edi Api, and the other one is Madhu Arihi. Madhu Arihi. Madhu is the name of a Rakshasa and Ari is the enemy of Madhu. So here the word Madhu ends with U, and which is being followed by the word Arihi starts with Akara. Akara is a vowel. So we can apply the Yanadesha, then Vu will be replaced by Va. The final form will be Madhvarihi. Similarly, Pitri Agnya. So here you can see the word Pitri ends with Re, and the word A. Sorry, the other word Agnya starts with A, which is a vowel. So Re will be replaced by R. Pitragnya. And L Akritihi. This L will be replaced by L. Lakritihi.
What is the meaning of Lakriti?
Lakriti means Lakriti. The word Lakriti refers to Krishna. The childhood, if you see the Krishna's childhood picture, the legs were be like this.
Balakrishna.
No, actually, why I am referring that Balakrishna is, if you see the pictures of Balakrishna, the legs were, the shape of the legs were similar to the Varna of Lu. The legs will be like this. So that's why it resembles the shape of Lu.
Muting.
Okay. The shape of the legs of Balakrishna resembles the letter L. Hence, he is called Lakriti. This word Lakriti refers to Krishna. Why it came? Because of this particular thing.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, madam, I should stop here.
Yes. So if you can quickly show the demonstration, we will stop.
Yeah, sure. Just one minute. I will stop sharing this too. Is this visible?
No, share your screen.
I have shared. Okay, some from it's not shared. Okay. It's not allowing me. Okay. Is this visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So if in order to view the Sandhi tool, this is the website. You have seen this thing, samskrit.uhvd.ac.in/scl. In the tools section, have to go to the Sandhi and you have to click on the tab it will open this thing. Again, these are the encoding schemes. Input Devanagari, XX, etc. And output also. In order to, if you want to get the output in Devanagari or in IAST, you can select either of these things. So since we have discussed today that Edyapi, I will try. Edi and Api. So here, Edi is the first word and Api is the second word, right? So I'll click on the submit button and I will see. See, Edi Api, Pradhama Padam, the first word is Edi and the Dvitiya Padam is Api. Samhita Padam means the Sandhid word is Edyapi. And here you can see the name of the name of the Sandhi. The name of the Sandhi is Yan. And here extra information is provided. Sutram or Vartikam. By which sutra you have applied this, you have performed this operation Yan. The rule is Eko Yanachi. And this indicates the chapter where it belongs to. 6th chapter, 1st quarter, 77th sutra is Eko Energy. In Ashtadhyayi, you can see this thing. So once you give the words, first word and second word, and if you click on the submit thing, you will get the form along with the Sandhi rule. We'll see another example. Madhu Arihi, Madhu Arihi, Madhwarihi. And the Sandhi rule is Yan, and the name of the Sandhi is Eko Ichi. Madam?
Yes, okay. So there is a question by Christian. Christian has raised his hand. Yes.
Thank you very much, first of all, for the presentation. So I have two questions. One is, I was a little bit overwhelmed by the Sanskrit terminology of Savarga and Nimitta and others. So I couldn't really follow everything what was going on there. That's just the first comment. And the question is there also a tool to do the opposite with the Sandhi, where you have a compound word and it unsandhis it? So you see which are the components of each of the word.
Yes. So so the second question first. Yes, there is a tool which Professor Gerard Huet will be demonstrating in the next week. So this week we will cover these Sandhi rules, and then we will go for the inversion, that is the segmentation. There is a tool available for this. Yes. And the first question was related to the terminology. Yes, the Nimitta, Sthani, and the
Adesha.
Adesha and also Savarga was also there.
Savarna means homogeneous.
Savarna.
Yes, madam. Madam.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Savarna means homogeneous. So
which means of the same group of
yes,
Varna, same
yes.
Varna group.
Yeah, E has E is a short vowel. What are the homogeneous forms of E? Long vowel, which is E, and elongated vowel, which is E. So these are called Savarnas.
Vowels, this I didn't really follow. They were also for Yara, Lava. They also have
Yara, Lava, they have nasalized ones. U, M, R, sorry, M, W, N. So these are homogeneous forms of Ya, Va, La.
How are they spelled, these forms?
You have to spell.
Well, See, how do you write them? You can
Acha, how do, okay, okay.
show the,
Is this visible?
no, you need to stay.
I am sharing, but some problem is there.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Mhm.
mm,
Oh, I see. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, some problem is there.
Okay.
I
Okay,
understand.
so these are the homogeneous form of ya is mu. Homogeneous form for wu is mu. L is mi. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other terms, what is it, adesha and the nimitta?
Adesha means the substituent. Nimitta means, see, A is being replaced by B in the context of C. Okay, this thing A is being replaced by B. I will write.
Are there slides that have these explanations so I can study later?
No, why? Because suddenly in the case of dirgha letters, how to take the homogeneous forms, for that we have to understand these things. That's why I started. I will give you the notes also.
Oh, great. That's great.
But since you asked that, so if this is the rule, A is being replaced by B in the context of C.
Mhm.
So C is called context. In Sanskrit, it is nimitta.
Mhm.
B is the substituent or the replacer, which is called adesha. The one which is being replaced is called sthani.
Mhm.
So here A is being replaced, right? Which is sthani.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Christian?
No, for the time, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next is Hadidi.
Okay, I have three questions.
Hmm.
So first, I didn't quite get what is sanadihi
Okay.
at the beginning of the
Yeah.
lecture.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
then
shall I answer
Sure.
this?
Yeah, sure.
So sanadi list of suffixes which starts with san, and in that a causative suffix nich is also there. So to which we had some we had discussed about niche in one of the classes, that it makes a causative, but of course we have not seen examples and all that. So this sanadi is a set of suffixes among which niche is one, which makes causative form of a verb. So to a verb, when niche is added, you get a causative suffix. To a verb, when sun is added, you get a different kind of verb. Then there are a few other suffixes like young, young look, and so on. So these suffixes, when added to verbs, they produce another verb. And we will be looking at niche at some point in time later. So sanadi suffixes we have not looked at. We will look at one such suffix later.
Okay, and then the second question is, I didn't quite understand what's the difference between sanyas and pratyaharas?
Between the pratyahara and saunya. Saunya is a technical name. Okay. So what Pawan explained is how to form technical, the Panini has given a procedure to form some technical names from the Shiva Sutras. So that procedure is, you can start with any of the letters in that, but the name consists of 2 letters. One is the like Ak. Ak is a name which is a name given to list of characters. Which characters or which letters come in Ak Pratyahara or the Ak Saunya? What does it denote? It denotes the letters which start with A in that Maheshwara Sutra. Yivun, Rurluk. Ka, when Ka comes, we stop because Ak has Ka as the end character, end letter. You can name them in such a way that the first letter can be any of these non-ending characters which were there in red color, but the second one should be one of those red colored. So this is how he has named the Saunyas, or these are called the Pratyaharas. So Ik is one, An is another, Ach is third one, H is another one. You can have Eng or At and so on. So there are more than 300 such names possible, but Panini used only 42 of them in his Ashtadhyayi.
So the sanyas and pratyaharas can be used interchangeably?
Not always. Well, all Saunyas are not Pratyaharas.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay. And then the last question, sometimes the nasal vowel is denoted by a dot on top, and sometimes like what Pawan showed, dot and a half circle beneath it. So what's the difference?
While typing, I think, yeah, Pawan?
Yes, just a minute, I'm sharing. Yes, so
Yeah, so sometimes it's just a dot, but here you show dot and then half a circle or below it.
okay, that is there is a property called Anunasika. So sometimes you see like this, right?
Right.
That's what you are
Yeah.
saying. So this
Right.
is yum. You have to pronounce as yum. This is yum. Yum. So there is a difference. The place of articulation is different, and the sounds are also different. If you pronounce yum and yum, you can see the difference in pronunciation, right? No?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So when is one used and when is the other used? Or
That depends on the context, actually.
okay,
Based on the Sandhi roots, you have to replace those things.
okay, thank you.
Chandru Sharma ji.
Well, this use the term higher were alert. What function has her to do in this?
What is the function of?
I didn't get your
No.
question, sir.
See
You
this
said
list. This
Sorry.
list Hayavara, her. Now here, what is the function of her?
right.
This is your question.
Yeah,
So I think you mean to say why her is here,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yavarala you could follow, but why her is there? There is this is something very That is different arrangement of and I was already there, but Panini wanted a device to name some of these, like Ivururlu. He wanted to name it by he wanted to give it a short name. Similarly, Yavarala, he wanted to give a short name. So for this purpose, and how many such names he wanted? Around 42 such names he wanted.
Okay.
Sometimes he wanted Jabagadada together so that he can give a rule for this. Sometimes he wanted Jabagadada and Jabagadada together. And he wanted a name, specific name for this, because in a rule, always calling them by these varnas, Ivu, Rurlu, changes to Yavarala, if it is followed by I, E, etc., the rule becomes very verbose. So he devised some technique to name these
Madam, you are on.
Yeah, I don't know how much I missed. So Panini wanted these subsets of all these Varanas, and he wanted such 42 subsets. So he wanted a scheme for naming them. And in order to do so, this is a very interesting mathematical problem, I should say. These are all partially ordered sets. So for some of you, it may go little above your head. Don't worry about the technicalities if I go in the details. But there are few who I think can appreciate what Panini did. So there were such subsets, 42 subsets, and Panini wanted to arrange all these in a linear order. These were like partially ordered sets, which were sets, subset relation among them. He just made a chain of it, and he said, yes, if I arrange them in such a way, I can take slices of them, and what I need to remember is just this sequence of look, etc. And I take proper slices. How to take slices? Again, he gave a procedure for forming these slices. You cannot take any slice. Sorry. The right part should end on those markers, and the left part can be anything. And whatever varnas are there in between, for these varnas, that will be the name. Something like this he did. But while doing so, he noticed that Ha comes in two different sets at two different places. Ha is needed along with Yavarala. Ha is also needed along with Kachata, Paya, etc. So he placed these Ha's at two different places. So you will see in Maheshwar Sutras, if Pavan can show the slide of Maheshwar Sutras, you will see that Ha is there in 14th Sutra as well as in 5th Sutra. So he just repeated Ha twice. All other Varnas are there only once, but he repeated Ha twice. And this is something which is very interesting mathematical problem. And one German lady by name Wipke Peterson, she has solved this problem mathematically. She proved that mathematically, she proved that whatever Panini has achieved is the shortest representation of the partially ordered set, linearization of the partially ordered sets. I hope it was not too technical.
No, it's good to understand. Essentially, when we are talking of Yen Sandhi, we are talking of Han Sandhi. Out of it, we are taking the subsets Yen. So I understand, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, doubt?
Professor, could you spell Whitney Peterson's name? I'd really love to read that research paper.
Yeah, sure. I will just name of the researcher is Wipke Peterson, and you can search on Shiva Sutras.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I don't remember the title of the paper, but if you search on web with Wipke Peterson and Shiva Sutra, she is from Dusseldorf University. Any other query?
Madam?
Yes, Rama Radha.
Yes, madam. Namaste. I have one question. Whether this Atkupvang is part of this Maheshwar Sutra or something like that?
No. In Atkupvang, At is part of is a pratyahara. At stands for Aivun Rurluk Eong I ouch Hayavarat.
Acha. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So no more questions. So we can stop here. Thank you very much.